Sony's plans were to incorporate the PS5 Pro into its console lineup and generate excitement amongst gamers and enthusiasts. But after a few weeks on the market, some want to know, did it deliver? While others want to know, is it worth purchasing? Hey, it's Valley B, and I got a topic for us to break down. Please like, share, and subscribe if you're digging the content. The quickest answer is yes, it delivers, but not in the way you expect. And it's only worth purchasing if you believe in Sony's future. However, by the end of this video, I will clarify those quick answers by sifting through all the biased reviews in favor of the more fair and rounded, and as the young audience say, based PS5 Pro reviews, and to determine the general consensus of the PS5 Pro. So feel free to skip to sections that are most relevant to you. I won't take it personally as long as this video helps you in any way, shape, or form. Just for transparency, I am interested in getting a PS5 Pro, but I am choosing to wait. Between working full-time and content creation, my time for gaming is few and far between, and I'm content with my Alienware rig for now. But the ease of pressing this button and instantly accessing a premium gaming console sounds more and more tempting. For the first of the two based game reviews that we're going to watch and discuss about, first one is going to be Gameranx PS5 Pro review. All right, guys, let's start breaking down the review and getting some answers.
Yes, pretty much it's exactly as you'd expect. If you've read some of the reviews or if you just saw the news about the console and made up your mind already, this probably won't change that. Just off the jump, for me, it doesn't feel as exciting or necessary as the PlayStation 4 Pro was. That felt like a substantial upgrade, a needed upgrade. Here with the PS5 Pro, I just don't have the same feeling. I don't have that excitement. I like tech, I'm an enthusiast, and this one is more complicated and it's a tougher sell. We'll get.
All right, guys, I have some thoughts here. It seems that the mass audience seem to be expecting more from the PS5 Pro this time around. I think the whole PS4 Pro versus the PS5 Pro is a fair comparison, right? The PS5 Pro had more of a traditional upgrade where enhancements were seen all throughout on day one, whereas the PS5 Pro enhancements are mainly seen in its spec, but also in some games. But we cannot ignore the elephant in the room being the $700 price tag that breeds more expectation and more scrutiny all around, especially from brokies who can't afford it. Let's move on to the next clip of this review that I also want to discuss.
A little complicated, not as exciting, but the big thing Sony was touting was the big three, right? The bigger GPU for graphical performance, the AI-driven upscaling, or PSSR, equivalent to something like you would have on PC with DLSS or FSR. There are differences, of course, but like for layman's, that's the best way to say it. And third, of course, advanced ray tracing. Right off the bat, ray tracing, I haven't really seen too much benefit here. Like, yes, you can enable it. It still kills the frame rate. The bigger GPU is, of course, going to allow for some things, but it's not going to make games look like completely different games. The thing here is the PSSR. I think potentially down the road, this has the most potential for this console to enable essentially games to have a more crisp image, a more upscaled image that can potentially make a big difference. Now, again, like here at Gameranx, we don't have like equipment to test frame rates or anything like that or give you comparisons. I will always, and many of my colleagues will always recommend Digital Foundry for that if you want to count frames or pixels. But the better resolution stuff is significant for games like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which when you played that on base PS5 performance mode, to get that higher frame rate, that game had to look muddy or blurry as hell. It had to lower the resolution. So here, now, there's less compromises and the game looks noticeably better. That's one of the few examples I think that really benefit from this off the jump. And of course, that is also the developers on their end updating Final Fantasy VII Rebirth to take advantage of that.
So I'm just going to flat out say this because, again, we're studying the PS5 Pro. Like, we're kind of doing a deep dive. I have watched a lot of videos concerning the PS5 Pro. And we're just going to ask the question like this. Is PS5 Pro the Final Fantasy Rebirth box, right? Because I'm not going to lie, that's half the reason why I want it. The other half is GTA 6. All kidding aside, a lot of the current excitement that we see from the Pro are surrounding its flagship titles and upcoming games. This has to be acknowledged as a selling point because it is. Most people who are happy with the PS5 Pro are playing Final Fantasy Rebirth and they're anticipating GTA 6 and other PS5 exclusive games. Think about it this way. Your console gets to show off and show out on games that matter the most. With that said, I'm curious to hear someone who's not a Rebirth fan or a Spider-Man fan, right? Knows Flash, I can't find him. All right, so moving on to the next clip. Again, we're not watching these whole reviews. I'm just kind of pointing out specific parts where I can make great points and help you guys in this journey on discovering if the PS5 Pro is right for you.
House on base PS5, it looked great, it ran great, but now you have the option to like really crank it up to 11. And I will say the results varied on this one a little bit. I have two TVs. I have a TV that is just a regular old, pretty good TV. And then I have another one that takes advantage of the high refresh rate stuff. The Last of Us Part 2 on the new Pro mode on my regular TV, it had a weird look to it. It almost looked like it was just added like a sharpening filter. And I didn't really like the way it looked. It took my eyes a while to get used to. But when I did use all the proper settings to take advantage of like a high refresh rate 120 hertz TV, I found it to look pretty good on my other TV. The detail, the blades of grass, the high frame rate, but also everything looking very sharp and crisp was pretty cool to see. So again, you'll notice something I keep bringing up is like, oh, high refresh rate TV and stuff like that. So yes, this thing is much better. This $700 console is much better if you also have a very expensive TV.
All right, guys, we're talking about the gosh darn TVs. You need the right TVs. I've been one of the biggest advocates proclaiming that TVs will bring the best out of your PS5 Pro. Of course, I stand by that. There are a handful of folks criticizing the Get a Good TV movement, saying that their hardware should be able to play on any TV that they're on. And, people like myself are using the TV as an excuse to make up for the PS5 Pro shortcoming. To that criticism, I say that gaming has elevated the hardware to such a degree that the TVs displaying the images now have to play catch up. I personally believe that consoles in the future will be depending on the TV's technology to bring the best out of it. And in my mind, it started with the PS5, to be honest, the Xbox Series X, but then it's making its way with the PS5 Pro in really elevating the TV standards that it needs. So you know me, type of TVs, OLED advocate. We're gonna always recommend OLEDs that I think will bring the best color and function out of your PS5 Pro. If you want more details, I happen to have a TV playlist that literally recommends the best TVs for your PS5 Pro. Please feel free to watch it if it helps you. We're going to go through this conclusion real quick and kind of see the overall thoughts. I think that'll also help you, and we'll go from there.
Yes. If money is no object, if you have no issues at all, buying this thing is technically, seemingly, the best way to play PS5 games. Is it a massive, exciting upgrade? No. The games that aren't patched or updated for PS5 Pro, does it substantially change them? Does it really change the game? No. But for the people who want the best of something, yes, this is the best. It will give you a slight edge. Over time, I am excited to see how significant some of these game overhauls really tend to be. I am excited to see where the divide happens, just like as somebody who is interested in this stuff, like where that divide is between a game optimized for PS5 and also PS5 Pro. Is switching on that PS5 Pro graphical option really going to shake things up? Or is it always going to really just be down to people like us, the people, really squinting at resolutions and trying to count frames per second, It is definitely for the enthusiast user, and also the enthusiast user that has a ton of expendable cash for something like this. Granted, every gamer is savvy, and I know plenty of people will trade in their PS5 and get the PS5 Pro.
Well, this rounds up the first reviewer of the PS5 Pro. Please watch the full video of the Gameranx PS5 Pro review for their full thoughts and details. Of course, my overall thoughts will come at the end. Moving on, we got a few clips from the YouTube channel, Marlon's Gaming Nation. This is his live stream after he posted several PS5 Pro reviews within the last week and just gave several impressions on them. And this is going to be his overall take. I got a couple of discussion points that he makes, and I just want to talk on top of that, and hopefully this can help you.
Okay, so first and foremost, let's talk about, obviously, some of the things that I think is just really good when it comes to the PS5 Pro. Now, the console features like the PS4 enhancer, I think that being able to turn that on and off, I think that is wonderful because it definitely adds more value to a lot of these PS4 games. Now, the drawback to it is it's not going to go in there and miraculously make a game 60 FPS. But what it will do is, especially if the game is like a variable resolution or variable frame rate, it will go in there and improve that, right? But the games that are locked at 30, yeah, I think Sony probably should mandate that. Hey, if you are gonna patch your PS4 game or something like that, or just in general, mandate to have all these games just have unlocked frame rate. Well, obviously it comes down to these developers, but I think the enhancer is a really, really, really nice thing to have. That's a really good feature. Now, would I say it's a huge selling point for a lot of people? No, because most people don't really care about PS4 games like that. At least the ones who have bought a PS5, yeah, they don't necessarily care about that. But I think that's a really, really nice feature.
This is a good subject for those of you who have the PS4 Pro, trying to move on to the PS5 Pro or the PS4 base, of course. This is an amazing selling point if it's you. If you are the PS4 Pro owner and you're jumping to the PS5 Pro, this is amazing. You should be smiling. You're having a good time. You are going to be getting the considerable upgrade from that last gen console to this gen. Also, you have the games that you're going to be spending. It's going to be a lot cheaper, like Ratchet and Clank, like especially you getting stuff Black Friday. Like you're getting good prices on PS5 Pro's like enhanced games. No, that's awesome. Besides, you get the PS4 enhancer. You can play all your PS4 games. For a lot of you, I think it's just Bloodborne. I think PS4 is just the Bloodborne box at this point. Yeah, let's move on where he goes into the PSSR capabilities.
Huge feature that is a part of the big three for me. I would definitely say that this is a pro would be PSSR. PSSR is definitely a game changer. It's definitely a promise to give us a way much more better experience than what the base PS5 can give us. And all we need is for developers to fully utilize PSSR, and obviously Sony making PSSR a much more overall better, robust feature. But I think it's groundbreaking, and I think it's also a future-proof feature and capability of the PS5 Pro that can make some of these more demanding games run a lot better and help mitigate a lot of the pressure that is on the PS5, the base PS5. So a lot of these more demanding games can have a chance to shine, or we can get 4K 60 on a lot of these games that weren't possible, right? And I'm talking about upscale, and we have seen how PSSR has almost a better quality than even native resolution after all the tests and everything. So that is really, really amazing, groundbreaking for console gaming, and definitely a future-proof soft piece of tech that is definitely going to show its strengths, especially leading into the PlayStation 6. So that right there is a huge selling point. Now, over the PS4 image enhancer, I would definitely say that's a huge selling point to the PS5 Pro because of PSSR and what it's able to do, especially in this early stage. I think that is just wonderful that Mark Cerny and Sony and the team engineered something like this. It's a very well engineered console. Okay.
So the gist of what's being talked about, the PSSR capabilities give the PS5 Pro potential. I get it. 2025, it's going to show its worth. But in the meantime, it is fueling the naysayers. Let's think like a naysayer for a second. Let's think like a hater, a brokey, whatever you want to call them, right? I'm about to pay, $700+ for this Pro console. Where's my enhanced everything? This PSSR you're boasting, it's not here yet. So a lot of people want to see these things. And now I think that a big point of you deciding the PS5 Pro is going to have to do with the PSSR. And then if you see that future that Sony's trying to create, I will talk about more of that at the conclusion of my video. So moving on, there's a couple things that I am skipping over, a couple like other small discussions. I know the Wi-Fi 7. Look, internet is subjective. Some people are probably still rocking net zero. Who knows? Who cares? So I don't want to talk about that. And another thing, I know another review point that maybe some people care about is the design. Like, honestly, who cares? Like, it could be shaped like a tampon with red cooling liquid flowing up and down. Like, if it could play, if it does the thing, we're sold. Let's look at the main downside.
100% honest with you guys. It's going to be a tough sell. If you are a high-end enthusiast, if you are a high-end console user that have been frustrated with games not running at 60 frames on these third-party games like Dragon's Dogma 2. You guys know the games that I'm talking about. You've been complaining about games looking fuzzy, looking blurry, FPS all over the place. The Pro is for you, obviously, right? For those super high-end enthusiasts. Now, if you do have the base PS5, it's going to be a tough sell for you. Because right now, currently, you might not want to go out there and buy the PS5 Pro. Because some of these games are not a huge jump for you. It's not a huge of a jump like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This is probably one of the biggest jump graphically. I mean, it's like night and day. All the other games look a bit more sharper, more crisp, higher frame rate and things of that nature. But man, this is one of the games that really stood out to me. Night and day difference, night and day. And like I said, if you are on the base PS5, some of these games are marginal. Some of these games are kind of noticeable, and some of them not at all, right? Just more frame rate. And for some people, that's not enough coming from the base PS5 to upgrade to. I'm just being 100% with you.
There's one, he goes into Q&A, and he has some responses that people might have. I think it's in an hour and 14 minutes. Like most of the people who are based, they are going to recommend getting the best TV for it. And he has some good stuff on that too. So definitely look into that. As in one more part of discussion I wanted to have before people talk. I think, is it here?
Because some people, you know, they look at it, they play all these games and they don't see a difference. But I would say it's more of a future-proof console. It's more of a future-proof console. That's really what it is.
I'm talking
you
about.
know what I mean? It's like a waiting until you see it type of stuff. Like right now, most people are just not impressed. They can't really see the difference. And this is why I said for you to hold off until next year. It's a tougher sell when you do have the base PS5. If you don't currently own a PS5, I think it will be a much more easier sell. They can see the difference, and some people say they can't see the difference. Whether they're trolling or being serious, you know, that's their business. They can't see the difference, then it's not for them. Maybe some people are going to sell bring back the Pro, get the money, and get back the original PS5. I mean, it's possible.
People on his chat are kind of, and some of you might be feeling that way, like, hey, I'm not seeing the difference. Like, I guess that's like, it's understandable. So I guess question to open up this conversation, right? Is it a negative mark on Sony that not everyone sees the enhanced improvements of the PS5 Pro? I wouldn't say it's an overall negative mark, but for example, let's say the PS5 Pro was easy and noticeable for people to see. I don't think Mark Cerny would have had to get all like super technical with what's under the hood of the PS5 and say PSSR like 20 times or something, right? It's like he brought the PS5 Pro to a show and tell, and he's mostly telling, doing a little less showing, you know. And I think with consoles today, and then you're putting a $700 price tag on it, it is kind of fair that people do want to see more of the show, you know. Anyway, that concludes the video from Marlon Gaming Nation. Please subscribe to his channel. I think he's cool. He does really based reviews. If you don't like my videos, let's just say I put you on to two other people that I think are pretty good. In conclusion, the PS5 Pro is a premium console with superior hardware that has appeal to selective people, aka not all, but some. This simply means that if anyone claims a definitive yes, the PS5 Pro is worth it, and no, the PS5 Pro is not worth it, they are doing you, the viewer, a disservice. Consider these questions. Is the game you're planning to play enhanced for the PS5 Pro, i.e., Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or Gran Turismo 5? Do you have $700 readily available? Are you a believer in Sony's ability to enhance current and future flagship games to PS5 Pro status, aka PSSR? Do you have a TV to take advantage of the PS5 Pro? Is this your first next-gen console? You see, there are many questions such as the one I'm asking that needs to be considered before you make the decision to buy a PS5 Pro or not buy it. Therefore, the first of my two overall recommendation is to consider getting the PS5 Pro. One word, consider. The second part of the recommendation or second option is to wait. Based on the Marlon Gaming video and how he explained it, PS5 is trying to be future-proof. Therefore, Sony has given you promises of what the PS5 Pro can deliver and will deliver throughout time. And for you as a consumer or as a potential consumer of the PS5 Pro, it is okay to wait and see if those promises are delivered before you invest. Or perhaps you don't like what you currently see. Wait and see if it gets better, and then again, consider and make the choice. Whether you consider or whether you wait, I will say it's inevitable because you're still gonna get it, right? We're talking GTA 6 is going to be the biggest game that comes out in existence. Knowing that the PS5 Pro is the only console in town, it is a wrap. You're getting it. All GTA 6 propaganda aside, the PS5 Pro is worth considering or waiting for. Please give me a like and a subscribe if I got you through the end of this video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.